What's good, everybody? This episode of the podcast is sponsored by DistroKid. They are the go-to for digital music distribution and the easiest way for musicians to get their music onto Spotify, iTunes, Amazon, TikTok, YouTube, and more. They offer unlimited uploads, and artists keep 100% of their earnings, getting your music onto platforms and into stores 10 to 20 times faster than any other distributor. They help with cover song clearance, automatic splits, and they offer all kinds of tools and templates to help you get the most visibility for your releases. I dig this company and appreciate their business model that offers more features and tools than any other distributor while doing it at the most affordable price for solo artists, bands, DJs, studio artists, and any other creators that are making music or producing music in their home, and they offer label services as well. They've got 3 different tiers that they offer to creators that start as low as $22.99 a year. That's just $1.92 a month. And even their top tier is only $7.50 per month. And the best part about DistroKid sponsoring the podcast is they are offering Dan Cable Presents listeners 30% off their first year of service with DistroKid, making their affordable prices even cheaper for you. I will put that discount link in the episode notes. It will also be in my Instagram bio. Big shout out to DistroKid for sponsoring this podcast for more than 3 years now. Much appreciated. Now let's get into the episode.
Look down at the
What is happening, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Dan Cable Presents podcast. Thank you for tuning into the program once again. If this is your first time listening, thanks for checking out the show. You can find fresh episodes coming at you on Tuesdays. And if you want to help support this thing, you can do so by clicking subscribe on iTunes, clicking write a review, giving the podcast 5 stars if you feel like it is deserving of so. And that will help propel this thing into the tops of those iTunes charts, giving it more visibility on the national and international levels, helping strangers find the podcast, all the good things. Appreciate the hell out of all the folks that have already taken the time to do so. If you're not listening on Apple, just hit like, follow, subscribe wherever you are listening from. If you're watching on YouTube, hit subscribe there. And as always, tell a friend about the podcast if you are enjoying it. I am talking to you from beautiful Sayulita, Mexico. I have been here for about 2 weeks now. I came here last year around this time, January 2025, for 6 days and just fell in love with it and have had it on my calendar all year to find my way back. There is an incredible black iguana climbing the side of the house right now. That I wish it was still in vision. That's the first time I've seen it. I've just seen their tails. But came here last year and fell in love with it, and have just been thinking about it all year, about how I could come back and maybe spend an even more extended time here this time around. And so I'm here for a total of 18 days, and it's just been so beautiful. Just been going to the beach every day and swimming in the ocean and eating tacos, reading lots of books, and just really enjoying this incredible 75 to 80 degree weather most days, while it's very cold and rainy in Portland, Oregon right now, where I reside. So this is definitely a killer time of year to be out here. Also just a strange time to not be in the U.S. right now with the recent activities that have taken by the murder of Alex Pretty by ICE agents. And it's been a little harder to disconnect, I think, because of that. I came down here with this intention to do my best to really just unplug my life a bit and slow it down for a second, because everything is just constantly chugging along, and I've gotten myself involved in a lot of things. So I wanted to just kind of come down here and reflect and just take some time for myself, hanging with friends, but also having this 5 solo days here. But because of all of the activity happening in the US, it has just been a little harder to do so. It's been a little harder for me to not want to be paying attention. So I'm just like genuinely curious how people are, how you're getting by. I find myself distracted by it often, just really hard to not think about, and it's extremely disheartening to know that this is where things are at. And I know for some communities this is not a new thing, and people have been yelling about these injustices for pretty much the entire existence of America. But it's just certainly in a different place than I have ever experienced as a 40-year-old person now. And so yeah, let me know how you're getting by out there. I think if you're not angry or pissed off, upset, alarmed with everything happening with ICE and this fascist regime, that we share probably pretty different values and experiences. And as somebody that has Jewish heritage and family that escaped a Nazi Gestapo, all of this just hits even closer to home, I think, and it just absolutely makes my blood boil that people continue to support MAGA and our rapist, racist, pedophile president. This is not a political thing. This is about human decency and values. And I'm just like not really fucking with anybody who continues to support this trash. And there's just no decency in any of it to me. And I think being fearful of immigrants is hacky as fuck. Just like do some simple research, and it's very easy to see that these people are not the cause for your problems.
Like I said, you can be stupid and know we're getting fucked. I'll tell you that. And I'll say, stop. Like, I'll say, get the ruling class's dick out of your mouth and just admit it's not immigrants and trans people that are the reason your life's bad. It's because there's tax cuts going to the 0.001%. It's because of inequality. I can say that, and I think that's true overall.
I don't know what it takes for some people to open their eyes and be radicalized, or like where that line is, or you just like want to rage against this billionaire ruling class, especially like this current regime that has clearly like done nothing to help the lower and middle class, and their way of deflecting is to just make you hate people that don't look like you, and that is their move, is to just keep the divide happening. And I also understand that some people are like so engulfed in their day-to-day in their lives, and just doing what they have to do to survive the realities of capitalism, and that's the little free time they have, maybe the 4 hours that they have to themselves in the day after they've gone to work and done the things that they need to get done outside of work to be a responsible person. That they don't want to just then go confront the injustices of the world, but I do feel like they're maybe a bit too loud to ignore at this point. And yeah, it's just, again, hard for me to not think about. And I am doing my best to not just take the escape route as much as I'm really like valuing and clinging to art and music and books right now. I also think it's like important to find good information and tap in with the movements and different perspectives, and take notice of the people who are speaking out and those who are not. I feel very lucky that a lot of the people that I have looked up to for many years, including my formative years, like a lot of my artistic heroes are, being vocal about their positions, and they're definitely some of my ride or dies, and it's not a surprise to me, I don't think, either, as I think their positions have been very clear to me in the art that they have made and the things that they have participated in, and I think that they do it all in such an authentic way, where it doesn't feel performative at all. And I think that is a very cool thing to see, and it's inspiring, and I think it's important to try to use those platforms for good, especially when there's so much evil shit being pumped out to create a false narrative and just demonize these marginalized people on all fronts is just, I think, really, really astounding. And it's just also so hacky to hear people, getting upset with maybe the musicians they like for speaking out and the artists that they like, or it's the shut up and dribble thing, You're entertained by these people, but you only want them as entertainment. You do not care about what they stand for, and as soon as they start speaking out, that becomes a problem somehow for you. And I think for me, it's often the reverse. Those are like the people I get really hyped about when I see Steve Kerr, the head coach of the Golden State Warriors and former Chicago Bull great, getting up at press conferences and addressing injustices and not just talking about the game. Those things are definitely fuel for the fire for me. So yeah, that's for starters. Hard to not address it in any way. I've just been having a hard time keeping focus with the current state, and wanted to share as I practice to say things out loud instead of shoving everything down until I drown in it. And so yeah, again, would love to hear about how you're getting by. Feel free to send an email my way, dancablepresents@gmail.com. Love to have some interactions with the community listening at this time. Voice messages, welcome as well. Before we plow ahead, this is just a solo episode. I'm just hanging out here in Mexico. I brought the camera, brought the microphones, and I thought I would just, talking to the mic solo. I haven't done something like this in a really long time, so this is just kind of a travel diary, a little, a sharing of the thoughts blabbing into the mic about things I've been thinking about. And as we do so, I also want to share some music that I have been listening to quite a bit. So before we plow ahead in the episode, I want to play a track from a band that is called Honeybee. They are new to me. They are from Cleveland, Ohio. And I got lucky with the IG algorithm on this one. They fed me something very good, and this track is called Chest Pain, and I have been listening to it a lot these last few days since I found it. I've been going swimming in the ocean almost every day that I've been here, and I'm just still like kind of blown away by the power that it feels like it has over my mood and my spirit. I think for a while I was kind of like, the beach bothered me because I hated like getting sand everywhere, and it's just inevitable that it's coming with you no matter how good a job you do to get rid of it. It's just one of those things that I think like kind of kept me away from the beach a lot. Also, growing up in Southern California, I grew up like 20 or 30 minutes from the beach, but traffic is so bad that you really had to have a proper plan around it if you didn't want that drive home to become like 2 hours. So it just didn't go very often. But when I was growing up, I would go visit my grandma a lot up in Ojai, California. And Ojai is inland, kind of in the hills. It sits in between Santa Barbara and Ventura. It's still Southern California. It's like an hour and a half maybe outside of Los Angeles. And Ventura is really close. About a 20-minute drive from Ojai to get to the Ventura beach, and my grandma would always take me there every time I went. I feel like she would take me to the Ventura beach, and there was always boogie boards that went along with us, and I would just boogie board all day. And I just remember how much I loved it. And I think almost every time I go in the ocean, I think about those times and just how special they were, and how, I don't know, just how pure they were. Just a level of innocence that I don't, it's sometimes hard to tap into, but I think every time I'm at the beach, there's a little bit of that magic and that sparkle there. So I've just been thinking about that time a lot while I'm at the beach, and definitely have this urge to be on a boogie board. And I'm hoping I'm going to take a surf lesson tomorrow. So I will keep everybody posted. Next time there's an episode, I will let everybody know if I successfully went surfing while I was here. It's been a big goal. It was a goal for turning 40 that I wanted to go surfing, catch a wave at least one time before I turned 40. I missed it. Okay. I am 40 now, but I can still make this happen before I turn 41. So we'll see where we end up. Yo, just a quick update. I fucking went surfing today, dude. And I rode like 4 or 5 waves. I did it. It was incredible. It was definitely something that pushed me outside of my comfort zone. But I pushed through. It was intense at times. I'll tell you what, those first few that I tried to ride in and did not successfully get up, there was a time where I was like, I'm not going to be able to do this. And then I tried it a couple more times,
and I started to stand up and riding a bit of the wave. And then I finally rode like a couple of them to shore. Yeah, so stoked. It was so cool. I definitely like wouldn't have been able to do it with somebody providing me with a lesson. This dude Christian, he's my Airbnb host. He took me out today to this just beautiful beach, and he's been surfing his entire life, and he was such a good patient teacher and just set me up so that I could ride some waves. And yeah, I'm not really sure that I could just like go out there and do the thing. Maybe I could solo, but yeah, big day.
But this the time at the beach has just been really great for the mental. And no matter how bad shit is, being at the beach is just very uplifting for the spirit, or my spirit anyway, you know? And when I haven't been in the water, I've just been reading books on the beach, which is like this whole other thing, similar to the sand thing, where I almost like thought I hated the beach because of the sand. I think that I, for a very long time, kind of thought I hated, I don't know, that I hated reading books. And, or at least strongly disliked it, or it took a lot for me to sit down with a book, to like skip out on other things, like watching TV or a movie, or playing video games, or playing music, or just creating things, you know. Reading definitely last on the list. I have found some books in the past that have been helpful to me. I would say they're more along the lines of like spiritual books, like The Power of Now was a book that was incredibly important to me during a difficult time in my life around 2019 or so. So I'm definitely not unfamiliar to reading for some sort of pleasure, or I guess I am. I guess I was. I any reading I was doing was definitely, you know, almost work on the self when you're reading books like that, whether you call them self-help or spiritual books, whatever. You're not really getting wrapped up in a story, and sometimes you digest those things in like really small chunks. And I think required reading in school, especially when I got to like junior high school, was really kind of the cutoff point for me, where I just like wasn't really into it. I don't even think I did most of the required reading. I think I just kind of like got away with not doing it. I remember very few books. I remember that book Night, and I remember Of Mice and Men, and Anne Frank, and that's kind of about it as far as required reading. But when I was a very young kid, 4 or 5, my grandma, Grandma Winnie, who took me to the beach all the time, she was a school teacher, and she had all these books for young kids. They were those like classic books where it's like Jack and Jane or whatever, and it's like Jane gets on the swing set, or Jack runs following the school bus, whatever. I don't know what they were, but they were those types of books. And I remember sitting with my grandma, and I just kind of like started reading, and I was kind of into it. And I remember she showed me the Boxcar Children, and I read some of those books and really liked it. The choose your own adventure books I was pretty into. So like there was a time in my life where I did really love and kind of excel in reading, and it was not until last year around this time when I came to Mexico, I ended up bringing a book, and it was The Housemaid, which is a movie that's out now with Amanda Seyfried and Sydney Sweeney, and I don't get to say this about a lot of movies, but the book is so much better. I'm that asshole now that has now read enough books to get to say that the book is better. But I hadn't really had that experience with a book where it just like completely took me, and it's like all I could think about, and it's like all I wanted to do. I crushed it in just a few days, and I hadn't really had that experience with a book before, and it just kind of flipped a switch for me, and I developed like, I started creating goals. Like when I left Sayulita last year, I was like, oh, I'm going to try and read 5 books this year. And already had one checked off. So I just needed to read, a book a quarter or so. And soon that goal, I bumped up to 10 books when I got to 5. I was like, oh, maybe I can do 10. And then that became 12. And, I ended up finishing out at 17 books last year, all fictional books. That's kind of like where I'm at right now. I'm just trying to, escape into stories, and definitely have some nonfiction on the list. But now I have this goal this year of doing 24 books, and I'm trying to not make it homework. I think that is an important thing for me, and like what I've learned about reading for me is like I need it to be fun right now so that I can keep falling in love with it. I think I definitely have some things on my want to read list that are heavier subject matter, and that won't be as fun, and they will be more educational, but I need to right now just have fun with it, and I don't want it to become homework. But yeah, I've set that goal of 24 books. I have read 5 books already this month. Part of that is due to me being on vacation for the last 2 weeks. I've read 3 books while I have been out here, including one of my favorites of the year, if not my favorite, is this book called Passengers by John Mars. It's a part of this Dark Future series, sort of anthology, so you don't necessarily have to read every single book to know what's happening in each other, but they do reference each other at certain points. So the first one was called The One, and it's about this person that discovers the DNA that links you to your soulmate, and people start taking this test, and it kind of becomes the norm to take the test, and it plays out from there for better or worse. And the second one is about self-driving cars, and both these books are psychotic, but this one about self-driving cars is psychotic in such a different way, and so intense on such a different level, and is such a crazy look into AI and not only the AI, but like the people with the power to control the policies over it is such like another level of the shit, and I think kind of goes back to like the billionaire class of like what they want to happen with it, and like how they want that to impact their bank accounts, and not necessarily thinking about like the good of humanity because they live outside of those bounds. So yeah, just finished Passengers, excited to get in to the next one, and I've just been loving reading so much. It has been such a safe haven for me. It's been incredible for my mental health, I think, just truly trying to put down the phone a little bit more, and especially since I use the computer a lot for work, like whether I'm firing away emails or I'm creating things, editing videos for the podcast or editing other videos that I am producing, there is just a lot of time spent in front of a screen. And so I've just been reading so much that I feel like I'm a little disconnected from what's happening in the TV and film world right now. I have seen Heated Rivalry, you know, for the culture. Had to see what it was about as a big hockey boy. Had to go to the boy aquarium, and it's heated.
Oh my God, Hollander, you were so boring.
No boring Canadian. No, I did not answer your boring text.
Watch the rest of this boring show, and then go to boring party after. The New Yorker is boring. So being boring is genetic.
And your dad is what, boring? Is that where you get your boring from?
It is certainly heated. I will say that the first 3 episodes are pretty much a softcore porn, but the story does have an arc to it, and episode 5 and 6, beautiful things, you know, beautiful things can happen at the cottage. So tap in with Heated Rivalry, get to know what's happening in the zeitgeist, all the hype around it. Rosenov, you know, you got to know who Rosenov is. Speaking of hockey, I know that everybody listening to this this podcast is not necessarily a big hockey fan, not a hockey nerd. They do not ride for the sport the way I ride for the sport. But I saw one of the greatest goalie moments that I've ever seen in the history of the game. Yesterday, I cruising the internet. The beauty of the internet still exists also, you know? It's a terrible place, but also there's so much cool shit. And this particular video is this goalie, this goaltender, the Tendy, throwing such a nasty body check on one of the skaters on the opposing team. It's like a European league. And for the non-hockey fans, the folks that are less familiar with the game, there's an element of hitting that happens in hockey. There's a lot of physical play. Most of the time, the goalie is not involved in that. The goalie is often seen as almost like off limits from that, unless they come out to play the puck, to make a move to send the puck to one of their teammates, and they come way out of their goalie crease, which is this blue paint. And sometimes they do that so that they can create momentum for their team or help them defensively. And once they come out of that crease and like really step away from it, because I feel like there is even like a little bit of a grace period, grace space, you know, a little bit of a safe zone, even outside of the blue paint where you wouldn't necessarily rub out the goalie. But sometimes when the goalie goes behind the nets, or he steps out really far into the zone to help his team, the goalie is seen as fair game. And I played goalie all my life. I still do in beer league occasionally. It's definitely the position in hockey that I am the most familiar with and the most skilled at. And I'm with it. Like, as a goalie, you step out, you are fair game within reason, you know, like it doesn't mean that you absolutely bury the goalie like Milan Lucic once did to Ryan Miller, which I loved because Ryan Miller just is Ryan Miller. But I'm with it. It doesn't need to be egregious, but I love it. So this guy, he steps out, plays the puck beautifully. And as he is playing the puck to his teammate, a defending player tries to run him. And the goalie throws one of the nastiest reverse hit, which is like you bracing yourself for a hit. So you end up hitting the player trying to hit you. And he lays the nastiest hit after making a beautiful pass to his teammate. And then after, continues to just flex on this dude so hard from his goal crease. If you're watching on YouTube, I'll place it. I'll play the video right now. And it was just a work of art. It was incredible. It was like just one of those really beautiful sports moments. And I just loved how much he celebrated this hit that he threw, because he knew that this is unlike play from any other goalie. You know, it's like you're gonna throw a hit on a player that's a little defenseless, you know, in their mobility. You know, the goalie is playing in much different gear, so it can be different the way that you move around out there, and the way that the certain position that you have to take to even play the puck to one of your teammates to pass it is a much different situation than when you are skating out as a player, a forward, or a defenseman. In the way that you hold your stick, you are very vulnerable once you shift into that position. So just so good, so good. Let's play some more music before I jump into my next thought here. There's a band called Broncho from Norman, Oklahoma, a place that I have grown familiar with over the past 10 to 12 years. I have some people that are close to me that are from there, and I got to go there while I was on tour a few years back when I was out with this band called High Pulp, and we played the Norman Music Festival, and so it was just like really cool to get to see where that place actually is and like what it is, after knowing that I have some friends that are from there now. So there's a band called Broncho from there. I have really enjoyed pretty much everything that they have put out thus far, and a song that has been heavy in my rotation is a track called I Think I Pass, and it is from their 2025 album Natural Pleasure. Hello, and welcome to the next segment of this travel diary episode. This next segment is a PSA for the younger musicians, or if you're just new to playing live shows. You do not have to be younger to be playing your first shows, which also like encouraging you, however old you are, if you feel like you need to make something happen still, it's never too late to try some stuff and share some things you've been working on, but probably mostly for the younger musicians. From the ages of, let's say, about 19 to 24, I played in a band, and we were based in Southern California, in the suburbs of Los Angeles, about 40 miles from LA. And at that time, in the early to mid 2000s, the mid to late 2000s, at that time, almost every single show that we played, I would say 80 to 90%, probably 90% of the shows that we played were pay-to-play shows, which means that you sign a contract that you will sell a certain amount of tickets to the show, and then you will give that money to the promoter who put the show on. So this is usually an outside promoter. I've never seen an actual music venue themselves do this. However, I do have a hard time with the venues that allow promoters to do this. So a promoter goes in and they get a night at a club. For us, for our band, we did this at places in Hollywood, like the Roxy and the Troubadour. These are like legendary places to us. The Knitting Factory, legendary music venues. So that's also like kind of the give and the take of the thing, and kind of the shitty part of it is like it is the venues that you want to play. So a promoter with some money behind them will take on these nights, and then they will get bands to sign on to play these shows. Usually, at the very least, there are 4 bands, but if not 5 or 6. So, and everybody's just playing like 30 minutes, but just very long shows. And not something that you want to be last at, because you're probably going on like at 11:30 or midnight, and you are not seen as the headliner. It does not matter. That is not how this situation works. So really what you want is like the sweet spot is the middle slot. Like maybe that 2-3 is what you really want, because that's like kind of your only chance to actually play to other people that did not show up for you, and actually get to play to other people's fans. Because the thing is with these shows is that a lot of the time people will not stick around for the other bands, because that's like not really why they came. And also the promoters do not do a great job of curation for these things, because they don't really need it to be a good, like they don't need this show to have a good reputation amongst the general public, because the general public isn't typically just like showing up to a show like this. The people that are showing up are the people that bought tickets from their from the band directly that they know. So you would be given, maybe 40 tickets, and they're $10 to $15 a piece. So each band is giving the promoter anywhere from like $400 to $600. And the deal is if you don't have it, you don't get to play. So a lot of the times you are actually paying money to play, because it's not always easy to get that many people to come out to the shows. And in the event that you sell more, you don't even get anything in return. I remember there was one place in Orange County called Hoagie Bar Michael's. Rest in peace. That place fucking ruled. We played so many shows there, but it was the place that, like, after you sold 30 tickets or so, or 40 tickets, they would give you $2 off each ticket after that. And I remember that being like a big deal to us. Like if we could make $200 doing something like that, that was huge. And that was fucking robbery to us. Like there were nights that we brought out 75 to 125 people and just like not really seeing much money at all for it. And, but anyways, it's a fuck situation. Okay. It is a fucked situation where the promoter makes money, guaranteed money, and the venue makes money, and the venue trusts in this process because they know it's guaranteed money, or the band doesn't play. But these shows do not create any sort of community. It is very rare that they do. There was not a bunch of shows that came from that we met people and then we would then go play more other local shows. It just did not happen like that. And I think as an outsider, it's very easy to fall into that sort of trap where like you don't know people in the community to put together the DIY shows. Like I have now, now being like removed from LA and like not really like living there, but knowing people who are in the LA music community, I see how shit works. I see how people connect and how they put on shows that are not these pay to play shows. Like whether they are a name or not a name, it's a lot of DIY. It's a lot of finding the right venues, like knowing where the right venues are. But this is just at a very different time. There wasn't necessarily like that social media networking and knowledge for everybody to like know where those safe, like beneficial places to play were that weren't just going to like fleece you for a bunch of money. So that stuff makes it real hard to play shows. It puts a lot of pressure on people. It makes you have to hound your friends and family to show up to these things, to support you in a weird way. And sometimes it can like really suck the fun and the joy out of playing the shows because everything is like such high stakes to not even make money, but to not lose money on a show. A local show. You know, if you're losing money, it better be because you like traveled somewhere to go play a show, or you invested in some crazy production for the show so that you could document it in some way. You know, these are the times that it makes sense to lose money to play a show. I'm bringing that up because when I moved to Portland, Oregon, I was so relieved and to see that wasn't like really a part of the Portland music scene. And I would see people playing shows where, you know, maybe 40 to 50 people were showing up and bands were like still making a little money. And there was never this thing of like, here's your 40 tickets, you got to go sell these. And, you know, a venue is always going to push for bands to sell tickets. Like, push them to promote the show so that tickets get sold, not hand tickets to you and send you out in the streets to sell them. I understand why a venue needs shows to be successful so that they can continue to run. You know, I get it. They need the shows to be decent, but it was just kind of this beautiful thing for me to get to like witness a music scene that didn't, I don't know, that wasn't dominated by that in any way. Because it is like pay to play shows are a cancer to a music community. And I don't remember what the name of the company that was doing it at the time that I was there, but there was like one place there's this place called the Alberta Rose, and they would do shows there sometimes. And I remember hearing about, it was like Advent or I don't know, something like that. I remember hearing about that place and people told me to steer clear. But this is a thing that's been coming up lately in one particular sector of the Portland music scene, like particularly in the rap music scene, and seeing these flyers for these shows thrown where you have to pay to get a slot on the show. And it's trash. It is, again, just, that is not how you build community. You do not need to pay to play on a show. This is good business for the promoter, but I do not think that this show is of value for these people to play. $20 to perform one song. $40 to perform two songs. So no price break. And then $50 for a 12-minute set. You are paying to be on a show that is not curated. This means that I could send, most likely, I know this is an assumption, but like, to me, this reads as anybody that wants to perform on this show, if you have $50, shit, maybe you really shouldn't be performing on this show, but you got $100 and they'll put you on for 12 minutes. That reads to me as that I do not, I'm not a rapper. I'm not really like performing music these days, but like can I could just hit this dude with $50. I get 12 minutes of stage time. Like, it's trash. There's no community building in something like this. There are so many places in the city of Portland, Oregon specifically, that you can go play a show. You can put together a show. People will put you on, especially if we're talking about the hip hop community. There are two organizations that I can think of at the top of my head whom will let you perform for free, and you might even get a little return, a little money in return for playing this show. One of them being Hungry Hip Hop. It's a monthly that has been going on at Mississippi Pizza / the Atlanta Lounge for many years. A beautiful monthly event that has deep roots in Portland, and you could perform at that. You can get on that radar. And there's also A Beat Happening, who puts on so many people just for their first time. This is like a much better route to go for your first time performing, or your first, or maybe you haven't performed a bunch and you're just trying to get your reps in. Like, you do not have to pay to play music, okay? That isn't good community support. It's not. Like, it's not a good look for you to pay to do these things. What if I charged artists to come on to this show? Like, that would be insane. That would be crazy. And it would also like completely change who came on the show. Like, it might just go to the highest bidder. So yeah, please be weary of these still booming shows in Portland, Oregon, okay? Be weary and ask yourself why the person at the top is doing this. Like, are they truly doing it to support the community? Or do they just want to like make some money throwing a show? And there are other ways to make money throwing a show. You can just throw a good show and have a good turnout, and then take a small percentage of the door as a promoter facilitator fee. It concerns me. And I just don't want to see people taken advantage of, and also, like, I don't want to see them taken advantage of, period, but specifically I don't want to see them taken advantage of in a place that has so many other open doors and doesn't require money for the accessibility. So if you are looking for those places, let me know. Reach out to me. I think there are places for you to do the thing, including open mics, which these showcases are just about as good as an open mic, if the curation is not authentically rooted in picking the best people to perform together, and not just people that have provided you with money to play. Then you might as well be at the open mic. You still get your reps in for free, and you get to be around other people who are probably building maybe on a similar level, and then you start building together with those people. So get fucked with the pay to play slots. Get fucked with it. Okay. We're gonna play some more music. Frente Cumbiero is a band from Colombia. I saw them last year at the Pickathon Music Festival, one of the greatest music festivals in the world. Just unlike any other, just so killer for music discovery. And this is a band that really left an impact on me. This song rules. It's called Jaley. It's got this cool spy thriller energy to it. We're going to keep the music rolling. Celine Dessberg is an artist from Paris, France, and I have been obsessed with this Chintamani song. Just a beautiful track that has been on repeat lately, and the use of the harp in this cool soul type shit is just so rad. From Paris, France. She's also got Mongolian roots. This is Celine Dessberg. Sorry, we're only playing short clips of these songs. I remember the good old days. When, you know, you could run a song and not get it flagged, but it's about, 30 seconds. Really gotta roll with that under 30 seconds where things get tricky. YouTube's flagging, Spotify's flagging, everything is flagging. So if you enjoy the tracks, though, I'll make sure to leave all the links for the tracks in the episode notes, along with the tags for all of the artists that I'm playing music from today. Get off Spotify. That shit is weak. Also, the sound quality is absolutely terrible, and it's very noticeable when you listen to it side by side with Tidal, that you are like potentially even like losing things from the tracks that you're not even getting to hear because of the way that they are compressed. What I will say, though, is I think after I've now explored the three majors, Spotify, had it for a long time. Apple Music was my first, and I've had that kind of on and off. Mostly I want it now so that I can make playlists, and I've had Tidal for a while now too, like the last, I don't know, couple years or so. And while I do think Tidal is supreme in its audio quality, the actual platform, the interface, is kind of shitty. I know this isn't a great sales pitch for Tidal, but it is much harder to find things in general. It's rough. Also, it seems like it crashes a lot. And I know that other people, it's not just me. I've heard other people talk about this, how, sometimes you'll be searching for a while and it'll just keep saying like, oh, system down or can't find. And it's just kind of, it's not great. So I would love to see Tidal step it up. I think that I'm maybe just in on Apple. It's my favorite interface of all of them. Playlists are solid. I like the discovery is usually pretty good for it on my end. But I also think that like really is dependent upon what you listen to. So I don't know. I'm leaning towards maybe diving more back into Apple. I keep Tidal because it works with Serato. So it's kind of the reason I have it in general is for DJing. So it's just kind of stuck with me a bit, but it has been, I would say very, very frustrating at times to use Tidal. And sometimes I will have to like search on a different platform to actually find the song on Tidal so that I can type it in, accurately, because it just like it has it has a really hard time with less popular artists of finding the right thing is one of the big things that I have noticed with it. And just the entire streamline, the platform is just a little wonky at times. So you got to love that extra audio quality, which I do. You have to love it though. Okay. I appreciate you tapping in with me. I just have a couple more things that I want to plug and talk about. One of those, I'm a big Phil Collins fan. There is a new Phil Collins BBC podcast series. It's their Eras series. And I have loved Phil Collins since I was a little kid. My fandom for him continues to just increase. It's still some of my favorite music, and there is yet to be like a really great Phil Collins documentary. And this BBC series, 5-part series, they're all about 30 minutes. It gave me everything I wanted. I mean, I personally could have used 10 episodes, but the way that this thing is structured and the interviews and the things I learned in this series, just so well done. If you are even mildly a fan of Phil Collins, check out that BBC podcast. There's so much cool stuff in it. A lot of great interviews with other artists, a lot of clips of interviews from Phil and the things he was going through as he was making records, and just kind of where he is at now as well. The final episode is a sit down with the woman who hosts that BBC series and Phil Collins. So you do get like a 30-minute interview from the present with him, which is also very cool. But yeah, loved it. I think as somebody who's so into Phil, it just like made me pretty emotional at times hearing him talk about the music and the things that inspired it, and sometimes the way that things were recorded, but also just for the learning experience, learning more things about Phil Collins, just the amount of records that he has sold as both a solo artist and as a part of a band is there's not too many other people. It's like Michael Jackson and Paul McCartney are the other people to really do it on a scale that he did.
Well, I suppose as you get to the halfway mark in your life, you start looking back as much as looking forward, And there are always going to be the little skeletons in the cupboard. There are always going to be the people that, if you start thinking about them, or if without even wanting to, you can have a dream one night and suddenly it's like this person you haven't thought about for 15, 20 years, suddenly you think about, and for 2 weeks you can't think about anything else.
So your wife has to be pretty long-suffering, is she?
Yes. She's amazing, actually. I mean, she knows it's what I do. I mean, I have to write about what I am, what I feel.
One of my favorite Instagram accounts right now is Stuff That Rules. I don't know if you have, if you've tapped in with this, if you're watching, if you're listening, I'll just play one.
I'm working on a list of stuff that rules. I try to add 5 new things to it every day. Here's today's. Number 1, soft spreadable butter. If you know, you know. That shit rules hard as hell, dude. I just got one of those butter dishes I keep in my kitchen. Butter's always ready to go. Definitely rules. Number 2, making it through a yellow before it turns red. Nothing to see here, copper. That was legal. Number 3, the first coffee on vacation. That rules. Get a little caffeine in your system, get real excited for what's ahead. Nothing better. Number 4, recognizing a moment while you're in it. Like you're at a concert or something, you're just looking around like, damn, this is awesome. I'm gonna remember this. That rules. The last one for today, Yacht Rock. Yacht Rock bangs, dude. Shout out Steely Dan. Shout out all those guys that your uncle listens to, you know what I'm talking about? He knew what was up. That's it for today. I love you all. Godspeed.
And it's just this nice sprinkle of joy on the internet. And I know that those things are harder and harder to find during the current state. And it's just every time I see it, it just brings a smile to my face. It's just such a great idea. I just love that this dude is just shouting out things that rule every day. You just sit there and watch it, nod along like, hell yeah, dude. That does rule, you know? So if you need some smiles, tap in with that. I'll put that link in the episode notes as well. Yeah. Hope everybody is hanging in there. Hope you're finding a way to keep your head above the water, and hope you're able to surround yourself with people that love you and that you love back, and help make these times more bearable. I've been feeling incredibly grateful for the people I have in my corner. I'm grateful to have this time to spend a couple weeks here in Mexico, just be at the beach and unplug. I know it's a real privilege to do so, and just feeling hyped, even though shit is bad. I'm pretty determined to keep trying to find ways to push through and keep finding ways to spend my time doing things that I absolutely love. You know, before I got to Mexico here, I had one of the best weekends of my life touring with Noah Gunderson, a full band crew for that one. There was 8 of us traveling, 6 on stage, and just I would say half of them were familiar faces, familiar people to me. The other half were strangers, and every single person we were with was just such a fucking joy to be around. We spent so much time laughing. There was just 3 amazing shows. Noah is one of my favorite musicians of all time, so it's just been, I know I've talked about it on here before, but just like such a surreal thing for me at times still, to that I have gotten to be a part of that in any way, and to spend that time with that crew the weekend before coming out here was just very eye-opening and refreshing, and just joyful times. I think we all were hoping maybe it would last for another week. It was just, that crew was just that good, and the weekend went by much too fast. So I'm real hyped on that, hyped on this trip, hyped on the projects that I'm working on, you know, new stuff in the works, and also continuing to plug away at this podcast. So thank you for fucking with me. Thank you for tuning in. Yeah, I'm sure we'll be back in action with the regular interview series that typically are happening here. I know this is, I think, the only like 3rd solo thing that I have done in the last 2 years, or at least since doing shifting over to video. I did have a podcast I was hoping to release, but I wanted to bring my gear out to Mexico anyways. That interview just got pushed back, so that will be coming at you soon. Tap in with the most recent episode with Scott Rivera from Scotty's Pizza, one of my favorite pizza places in Portland, Oregon. Lots of other food stuff I've been doing with Noah Bernstein from Bernstein's Bagels, Mel from over at Sandwich, Little Griddle, Judd Harris just on the show, and I'm really excited that I'm going to be doing a podcast with the great mind behind Red Sauce Pizza in Portland, Oregon as well, coming up. So stay tuned for that, and interviews with other musicians and artists coming at you as well. I do want to close out the episode with some music. Definitely at a time in the world when I'm really kind of clinging to art for comfort. And my friend Isabeau is one of my North Stars for comfort and for kindness. And it's music that I always find to be pretty calming and grounding. And she put out this record called Heavyweight a little over a year ago. And I had the joy to, the dogs are going crazy. I love all the wild dogs here. It's crazy that they are all able to like really get along. Like you see so many dogs just running around, but it's not chaos. Like they all like, I don't know. There's a system that they have created. But anyway, Isabeau made this record called Heavyweight. It came out a little over a year ago. I had the joy and the pleasure of getting to be in the studio with her and her bandmates for the majority of making this record. So it has such a very special, sentimental, tender place in my heart. Every time I listen to it, I have a lot of visuals of the gang, you know, in the studio doing the thing, and just like all of the fun times that we had while it was being made, and people just kind of coming together and leaning upon one another. So yeah, I wanted to play it out with this track called Confession. It's one of my favorite tracks on the album, and it just feels like a good way to sail things out. It just feels like music that is needed right now. It feels very healing and grounded. So if you're not familiar with Isabeau, she's Portland based. Keep an eye out for shows in the area, or keep an eye out for her tour dates. All the links for all of the artists included in this episode will be in the episode notes. Thank you for listening. Fuck ice. Be well. Take care of each other. That's the Jelly Jams, and we'll catch you on the flip side, Portland or wherever you are listening from.